day and welcome to the Power Up. I'm your host, Tami Hill Thomas. So glad that you're joining so that we can discuss news, purpose, and perspective with power to hopefully help you make a difference where you are. Remember, our job is to equip, empower, educate, and elevate you so that we can be a community and even world changer. Let's get started. We're going to first share news that on the global front, there's a huge effort to eradicate polio. Polio, as many know, is a vaccine that has helped over 4 million children globally every year prevent this virus. To eliminate polio, UNICEF.org is sharing that every child in every household must be vaccinated. But thousands of children are missing polio vaccines regularly. Again, globally, this is an issue. In addition to interruptions to vaccination campaigns and immunization activities by COVID 19 and the pandemic's focus on vaccinations, many children, fragile, and those who are in conflict affected areas around the world are dealing with a decrease in vaccinations and finding it more difficult. Mass migrants and refugee populations, along with discrepancies in quality and vaccination campaigns and misinformation, have hampered the polio eradication efforts. UNICEF.org needs your help. They need you to elevate the awareness around you that polio is still a very important disease on a global front to fight, and they need you to make a difference. The decline in childhood immunization coverage globally has resulted in increasing outbreaks of polio in many countries around the world. That's why the Power Up production team thought it necessary to share this cause. The global spread of polio is a stark reminder that until all forms of polio are gone, children in every country remain at risk. The world is in the final stage of polio eradication. In the United States, it is one of the lowest diseases that we are seeing, but that was after an amazing effort to eradicate polio here with required vaccinations of children. But pervasive challenges make the stage the most difficult yet. You can make a difference. Go to unicef.org. Learn more about the eradication of polio, the efforts that they're making to send individuals to countries across this land to help our children in need. Remember, it doesn't matter the color of someone's external, their outer skin. We're all the same inside. And humanity, one human race, matters. Help us help our children and consider what you can do, at least to be educated and share awareness that the eradication of polio is still important. Also, we want to share how there's a great need for blood donations right now, nationally, in the United States of America. There is a blood shortage. The Red Cross has requested assistance, donations. Do you know that when you donate blood, you can help to save 7 lives? Your blood platelets multiply. And that's why so many individuals who are find themselves in need your help. Whether they're babies fighting cancer or individuals who maybe just experienced a car accident, minding their business, not planned. It's important that you find a way to help. Consider donating to the American Red Cross. They need you, they need your blood, they need your donations. Also, they need volunteers. Been faced with so many disasters across our country that they've put out a call for volunteers with the American Red Cross. Have you ever considered how you would love to be one that goes to an area when there is a disaster or a crisis? how you'd like to help in those moments. Be on the volunteer list to just give back and support. Hurricanes happen, tsunamis, tornadoes, pandemics. Sadly, we're all subject to nature and natural disasters. You can be one of the difference makers with the American Red Cross. Redcross.org is how you can find out information on how to register, sign up to be a volunteer. Come on now. Use your body, use your intellect, use your heart to care for those in the most need. Sign up to be a volunteer today and complete the questionnaire so you can donate blood. Your blood is needed. You can also donate those tax deductible donations, that monetary cash, y'all. Important because the Red Cross does a lot of work where they run and provide services. They need your help. Consider what you can do globally or nationally. So, as we consider our family members that are across the water, those babies who need your help as they're fighting polio in many countries where you can't necessarily touch, know that you can be equipped and educated by going to unicef.org to see what you can do and learn how this is such an important cause to help generations to come. And then what you can do right now in the country, if you're in the United States watching this, understand there's much you can do wherever you are. Consider tapping into redcross.org so that you can donate blood, donate funds, become a volunteer. Family, one thing you can do, whether it's here or across the water, is be a change agent. Make a difference where you are. We hope this information was helpful, enlightening, so that you can share with your communities, those around you, so that we can all have a helping hand for someone in need. As we move forward with our show, we're excited to continue to elevate insight with a very special guest. So stay tuned. There's more after this.
Hey everybody, this is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner on Empowered Mornings. We'd like to invite you every Wednesday night, 8 p.m., uniquely and gorgeous, to keep your mind locked and loaded on WIN Network.
This is Tami, host of The Power Up on the We Empowered Network. Join me every Friday at 12 noon as we discuss news, purpose, and perspective. Welcome back to The Power Up. Family, we're excited because we have a special guest. We have someone who has a global reach and yet uses her heart to make a difference. For those who may not be aware, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's an opportunity for us across this land to elevate ways that individuals who might be experiencing trauma can get help. There are 24-hour national hotlines and services and agencies that are dedicated to help those who might be experiencing domestic violence. We here want to share information and bring you an amazing expert, someone who is a human service advocate in her own right. We'd like to welcome at the Power Up Psalm Seifer, known to many globally as Miss Carlette Martin Booker, because she's a world-renowned artist, signed vocalist. But we're so glad, Psalm, that you're joining us because you have a heart for people and for this cause.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tami. I'm so thankful to be here and to speak with you on this very, very important subject. And there's so many of us that are going through so much. So I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's our honor to have you. It's very important that we take time during these many different awareness months to really do that, elevate awareness. So, as an advocate, we know all the work that you have done, not all of it, but much. You have touched folks in many different countries, as well as states in the United States. We know that you established sisterhoods and have even given back to nonprofits with your time and your talents. First, can you share with us why this is so important to discuss?
It's important because it's been a journey for me. And I got to meet so many other sisters, women, even men who are dealing with this. And it's been an enlightenment for me because it allowed me to understand that we sometimes feel that our situation is so bad and it's just we don't know how we're going to get through it until we hear someone else's story or until someone else share their story to uplift you and to give you that hope to know that there is a way out. There are some things that we must do for ourselves, and there are some awareness that we have to be mindful of.
Absolutely. You know, it goes back to something that I heard you say a few years ago when we first connected, and that's the understanding that everybody has a story. A lot of times we don't see what we don't know. But one of the things during this awareness month that I appreciate is a lot of times there are individuals, and the pandemic highlighted this, that
Mhm.
deal with things in private. They deal with traumas and issues of life, which we all do, but don't even aren't even aware there's resources and connections, even
Yeah.
if it's just a neighbor or community. What would you recommend that the community be prepared to do when we experience someone who's dealing with trauma?
The community is another task, I believe, Tammy, because we have to find these communities. Sometimes we're so busy in our lives in our community that we tend to neglect giving others your time. So we sometimes have to approach those, our neighbors or the community, or go and do some research and find out who's really allowing all of the opportunities to express or to get in groups or to find those ways to really release and to find others that are going through the same thing and are willing to open up and talk about these issues so that because you have to get them out of your system and allowing yourself to free yourself to really see it for what it is. It helps us to actually understand it, and it helps us to deal with it a lot easier. So the communities are very important, and there are so many programs that I've been looking into that really do provide these opportunities. We just have to go and seek them and be diligent to be a part of it.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that because that's a great point. There are programs that are dedicated just to working with individuals who are either fleeing or have been impacted by a domestic violence situation. I do want
Yes,
to share this. Individuals often think that domestic violence is just when a man hits a woman or
right.
a spouse hits a woman. And I want to share that the definition has expanded so much as to who victims of domestic violence are. There is a federal act, the Violence Against Women's Act, called
Yeah.
VAWA, which
Mhm.
offers protections federally for individuals, regardless of their gender, who might be experiencing that. Could you share how what you've seen and what how we've been able to impact change there?
Well, I will add that we, me and you, and so many other beautiful sisters got together and decided to take the time and go to some of these shelters and speak to some of these women and sit down with them and give them our time and our ear to allow them to share with us what is really the problems that they're facing internally. And it's so rewarding that when you can take the time and not be judgmental and be caring in your heart, especially when you've gone through similar situations, that you can, give back. And so it's just been so rewarding. And I think back on those moments, how it just really melted your spirit. It melts your heart to know that in some way you're making a difference. And especially when we hear back from those and they follow up with us and they know, and we know that they're doing better in their lives just the fact that we took the time to spend and go out and be a part, in making sure that there's change in their lives. So it was beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that's important to know is you said it, change, right? We can all do something to help somebody else. A
Yeah.
lot of folks might not step into a shelter to sit with women and speak to them.
Hmm.
There's ways you can help. You can donate to shelters. That's clothes, toiletry items. Ladies,
Hmm.
those purses you're getting rid of. There are individuals who left everything to flee. They made the choice. Safety is more important, and they grabbed the kids or themselves and they left. And
Right.
so, having the opportunity to donate clothes or those type of products, I have witnessed you doing that. Is there really a need like that globally that people feel? And how small or big could the donations be?
Yeah, there's a big need. And a lot of times the Father will give us so much more that we can share with others. And sometimes if we take the time and clean out our situations, our closets, and see, that, wow, I'm not really wearing this, but I can give it to a sister, I can give it to shelters, I can, donate some canned goods or some dry goods to the shelters so that their needs are met by the Father who bless us sometimes with so much, and we just don't want it just sitting there, in the closets or in the storehouses, but that we empty those and allow ourselves to be givers and not just receivers, but just to give, give, give. And the Father always gives back because He knows our hearts. So it's very vital for us to support each other and support these programs and support the shelters and or the families when we hear about them that are going through, and share a little bit. It could be the monies, it could be any items that they may need, it could be clothes, whatever it is, but there is something that we can give, and we need to always make sure that we set that aside and go and look for these programs and shelters and give to those so that we can be instrumental in the healing process and the change in their lives.
And that's true. A journey is certainly a start to a
Yes.
healing process. Thank you for that, because trauma of any kind will have individuals in a broken state.
Yes.
Um, I know that one of the things that you sing about often is love and the importance of connection. The sisterhood that you started, there are many women who might be nervous about connecting with other women, because women, we have our own stuff. But your sisterhood has grown across multiple states. What would you recommend for someone who even has a vision to start at that type of business or that type of community, a way to do something that could be supportive?
I would say to anyone who desire to be a help in those areas is to not procrastinate, because it is very a serious matter, and it's the rate uh, keeps going up and up and up with domestic violence and abuse of all forms. And now is the time. Why wait? Especially when we can implement a plan and put some people together to give us great ideas like we did. We always had discussions, and we always had meetings where we took notes and we were able to see that vision. So we have to really see the vision and know what the mission and know what it will. The mission, of course, is very important because that will allow you to actually stay on course with helping those and starting this so that we can be transparent. A lot of times with these organizations, these people, these the wounded or the ones that are hurting, they want to feel that they can trust these a group of people in these organizations to give them the love and the care and the attention that they need. And so when you have a heart for people, go ahead and lay your plan out, implement it, and get some pointers, get some feedback from others, and go ahead and start that. And don't procrastinate because so many are in need of that. So many.
Thank you for sharing that, the urgency, and for
Yes.
sounding the alarm that it's not too late. If you feel something in you to start, just start. Someone will be impacted
I
by
know.
the thought and the ideas that are birthed out of us, just as you've done. And again, I want to share this. Your sisterhood started with six ladies at a table having lunch, and years later has grown into, I think, more than 50 contacts across at least 5 states. And it
Yeah,
all is because individuals feel connected.
exactly.
I do want to get really real for a second and ask if you could share. You have such an amazing presence that's inviting for people. But there are some folks who might be nervous and not know what to say or what to do.
Mm,
What advice would you give to someone who they see that there's a concern, they sense that there's something happening? What do you
mhm.
recommend to that person who wants to help?
You have to be transparent. You have to be um, willing to allow people to come into your life and heart. And because because spirits connect. And so when those feel that, oh, I have a connection here and I believe that we can make a difference or that she can make a difference or he can make a difference in our lives, then it's easier for those to communicate. It's easy to let your guards down. It's easy to really be transparent and open up your heart to those and allow those to come in. We have to be sincere about what it is that we're doing and know what the outcome should be. And it should be a closeness, a togetherness, a truthfulness. It should be accomplishments. There should be some changes that you see, some work that you put in, because every time we put in the work, we see the faith starts to grow. And so when we are coming together and allowing ourselves to even be vulnerable, because a lot of times they also understand that we too have gone through a lot of trauma or wounds, and that we're trying to or heal, and to get through these situations. And so when they see this strength as like an overcomer, as we used to call it, when they see that and they understand, they will come to us in sincerity, and they'll be more open to allow us to understand who they really are and what they're really going through. Sometimes some people are reserved because they feel that they're too embarrassed or too ashamed to show you the hurt and the pain and the disappointment that they're feeling. But when we allow ourselves to tell a little bit of our story to them, now there's the connection. Now there's that awareness of, okay, she gets me, she understands, and now I can open up a little bit each time. So that is very important. Transparency is very important, because we also have to understand too, Tammy, that we are very powerful. We are powerful women. The Bible even tells us that. We can type in powerful women and you'll see a lot of scripture that comes up, because scriptures that come up that allow us to understand that we can make a change and make a difference. The situation with that, though, is that you have to tap into it. You can read the scripture and you can say, I understand it, but you have to apply it. And so you have to understand that we are very powerful spiritual beings as women, as sisters, and we can create change. We can create it. And so if we allow ourselves to tap into that and know, because everybody has a different change, a different walk when they do walk into it. you know we may be good at some things, another sister may be good at as what we went through experience with the sisterhood. Some are just on fire for the Father. They're on fire, and you can feel the anointing, you can see it, the changes. And it was just beautiful. Some brought their experience, some brought the education that they have, the all of what they brought to the table was very instrumental. We need the legs, we need the neck, we need the shoulders, we need the toes, we need the whole body in order to create the change. So it's a beautiful thing when you can come together with those that are willing to give of what they have and give it in love and give it in patience. And so that is what really allows me to stay in tune, because there's so many that are in need. When the Father brings you out, what do we do now? We go back and we reach back and we give that back to those. So it's important for us to always stay in the awareness of who we are and not be ashamed when we look in the mirror, but to really look at ourselves and know that the Father Himself will cleanse and allow us to be the spiritual servants for Him that we need to be. And I know I can go further with that, but
I'm so glad you said that.
it's
I'm so glad you shared your heart, because you just reminded many of us that we all are purposed to be able to help somebody else. And I do want to share this one thing. And again, thank you for sharing your heart. And we know that this is something you live. It's
mm,
actually work you do every opportunity you get. Um, there's a lot of stigma
mm,
that people think about when it goes with domestic violence. And
yes.
before, as we wrap up today, the first thing that I want to do before we hear some final thoughts from you, Psalm Sifa, is I want to share with everyone. If you're watching this, or if and you're experiencing this situation, or a situation that's of concern,
Mm,
where you feel unsafe, we want to give you some information to help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 24 hours a day available to support you. You can go to thehotline.org
mm,
to get more information on how to right now get assistance. You can also call the hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.
mm,
That's 7233. And or text the word START to 88788. Having people readily available in that smartphone, in that hand, that can tell you where to go. They can give you the confidential locations where you can go to be safe. Safety is the priority. If for those who might need assistance, there's also resources. They can tell you the agencies that can help you develop a personal safety plan. Figure
mhm,
out if you were to make that shift. What about the children? What about the fur babies? Your
mm.
life is important, and everything that encompasses you. If you think you're in this situation, tap into the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The numbers, the website you see on your screen. Before you leave us, Psalm Sefer, please, if you would, share a moment of hope or any insight of inspiration you'd like to with someone who might need just a minute of insight.
I want to share from the bottom of my heart to not be afraid of truth, of who we are and where we are, and not be afraid of change. And don't do it for anyone else. Do it for yourself first. Because how can we be of good to anyone if we ourselves are still battling or dealing with whatever it is? It's sometimes it starts in the mind, and we have to be mindful of what we speak, of what we're thinking, so that we can allow the Father to renew us. And so, because He knows everything about us, and He just wants us to put in the work, to know our worth, to know that we are valuable and we have a lot of work to do. So if we have a lot of work to do, then we don't need baggage. We can't carry around so much that is weighing us down and we miss the mark of what the Father is wanting us to do. We have a lot of work. And so, and it also to never feel that you have to settle or compromise in any situation, in any relationship. You walk this path, you speak to the Father, allow Him to cleanse us, repent of our sins, wait on the Father, wait on Him, and not be so quick to jump back out in situations, because even the Father will allow us to see those same signs. So, this discerning that we need to tap into the discerning of our hearts so that we can stay guarded and protect ourselves and put in the work and let the Father work in us and through us so that He can cleanse us. You know, we'll never get the correct answer if we take Him out of the equation. And I'm talking about the Father. So when we understand that we are powerful women, that we are beautiful women, and that we can tell ourselves that, and we don't have to be validated by anyone, and we can go in that word and understand who we are as women, change start to occur. And it starts here, it starts in your heart, and now you can be givers and you can pour on others and love our sisters. We can compliment our sisters, embrace our sisters. We can celebrate with our sisters. And so I leave you with that. I leave you with that. Know who you are. Know who you are. Embrace who you are. And look
Ooh,
in that mirror and validate yourself and say, I am beautiful and I am made in His image.
I love that. Thank you so much. Validate yourself. You also mentioned don't feel like you've got to stay there and take something from someone else. Family, if you aren't experiencing any domestic violence, write down the numbers, write down the web address that you see across your screen. That way, post it on your refrigerator, put it in the bathroom at the high school.
Yes,
Figure
yes,
out
yes,
what
yes.
public areas you go to and post it on a bulletin board. There's someone who just needs to know there's resources. And guess what? You just made a difference. And you never know the people you may never meet. We just wanted to equip and educate you so you can elevate this cause. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
on the
you. Can I
Self.
say one thing?
Yes.
Can I say one last thing?
You
Is
gonna
that,
sing?
yeah, no, but what I will do is just tell you this, is that I'm still continuing my music ministry. I have a new album, Truth Never Dies, remixed, and it's on digital platforms. It's been out for a few months, and we all should be doing our best to herald the gospel of the good news. We also have a website, psalmsephir.com. So please listen to it. It will definitely move your spirit, and allow us to understand more about who we are as beautiful sisters. And we can be overcomers of any situation. I love my sisters. I
Absolutely.
love you, Tammy.
Absolutely.
I
Love you
love you.
back.
I
Thank you
love
all.
you.
You see on the tape on the bottom of your screen, you can
Yes.
go to psalmsephir.com and get so much more of this powerful woman, her work in the community, how you can model and learn from her to make a difference where you are. Again, multiple states are impacted simply because she started the work that was in her heart. Thank you
All
so much
praise.
for joining us,
All
for
praise.
promoting your music. We look forward to having you back on the show
Thank
so that we can
you.
discuss how music makes a difference in our community and other human causes that you impact. Family, please stay tuned. We're so happy to elevate this cause, but there's so much more after this.
Good morning. Marshall Weeks here with you on Financial Friday. Do we really believe God loves us, or are we too focused on how much we love God? Deuteronomy 31:8 tells us God will never leave us nor forsake us, meaning he will never leave us physically or neglect us emotionally. He is concerned about our physical, mental, and emotional health. So why are we distracted by short-term financial problems when we serve a long-term, permanent, solutions-oriented God? Did we reach out to him first before we borrowed the money? Did we give him the opportunity to whisper in one of his angels' ears to sponsor us or pay for us? Did we discuss the job offer with him, or did we jump at the opportunity to make an extra $2 an hour doing double the work when he gave us the business idea, wanting to grow and stretch us, fine-tune our self-discipline so we could handle the multi-million-dollar dynasty and be his channel to bless others on their life journey? How quickly are we to say without saying, "I got this, God. Let me call you back"? Then when we realize our limited vision and short-term solution cause some long-term problems. Let us not grow tired of seeking him on every financial decision, and let us never forget that our focus should always be on how much he loves us. So when our back is up against the wall, we know we have a Father who will always cause us to triumph on the other side of the challenge. We need to consider it pure joy to go through God's process on the way to financial blessings rather than to suffer the consequences of a bad financial decision. You've been empowered because you should prosper.
Welcome back to the Power Up family. We're so glad you stay tuned. We're going now into our career elevation segment to respond to a viewer question. The viewer writes, "Tammy, thank you for your show. I find myself in a career transition, and it seems like every interview I have issues with my resume. The feedback is I don't seem to be qualified. Any advice?" Well, I'm so glad you wrote us. Listen, resumes are important. Resumes, however, are what got you in the door. So if you made it to an interview in spite of resume issues, understand that's not the reason you didn't get the job. But I do want to entertain the thought that resumes are your advocacy, they're your brand, they're the first thing that individuals see when they're trying to figure out who to bring in for an interview. The power of a resume can make a difference. Give you an example. Recently hiring, we are going through 300 resumes. So when you're going through a lot of resumes, you aren't reading for thoroughness. You're skimming for quite elevated information. So we want to help you at the Power Up with some things to consider. First of all, remember that your resume should make sure it speaks to the job you're interviewing for. Many individuals have multiple resumes. Make sure you're submitting the right one. Also, keep your resume updated. If there's new skills, new certifications, even if they're free ones that you're getting online, consider adding that information. There are different bosses hiring who have different perspectives about whether they see a one-page resume or a two-page resume. That's not something that I'm necessarily going to advise you on. There are some amazing two-page resumes. We will, however, say don't send folk a book because they're not going to read it. What you want to do is elevate what's most important. So what I'd like to share, thank you productions team, is some issues, some mistakes that often happen on resumes. How about those sad grammatical and spelling errors? If you're not proofreading, somebody else is going to see it. You want to make sure your than and then is correctly, right? You want to make sure the words are used in a grammatical structure appropriately. If you're discussing about old jobs, everything should be past tense. Or make the whole resume about experience using current tense. Figure out what you want to do, but stay aware. The higher the job in the management chain, the more scrutiny you will get for things like grammar. Consider incorrect and missing contact information. You might have an amazing resume, but if we don't know how to call you, you're not getting an interview. Make sure your current address, your current email, information you're going to be checking regularly is there. How about using unprofessional emails? Come on, family. I get that you're a fly. I know you're fabulous. I know you might be a marathon runner. You might be a rock climber, a hiker, whatever you are. You want to create a professional email address. Most folks honestly will not respond to Wow Girl 911 or something that makes them concerned about the type of individual that might be representing them in meetings. And yes, they can see the perspective from your email address. Also consider your social media platforms. We are in the information age. That means the same way you can easily scroll through and enjoy those videos and new recipes and finding out about how to care for your plants and your pets at just a thumbprint, also means those who are hiring you can type in your name and whatever pops up about you is what they will see. Agencies do now include social media as a form of background check or a form of interviewship. So make sure that whatever you do, if you want a job, for example, that's in a clergy or high sensitive or high security area, that your Facebook page, Instagram page, TikTok does not reflect the type of person that that job would not be suitable for. Folks are checking. Another thing to consider, hope this is helpful to you, viewer, is to make sure that you demonstrate quality results. So this is for the folks that put in resumes, and you never seem to get the interview. I want for you to consider what is the eye catcher that's going to make someone who's looking at 300 decide they're going to put you in the pile to schedule. What information rises to the top that makes them say, I at least want to have a conversation with them? Let me give you a few tips, if I may. Quantitative data is always key. How much you do what you do. 20 years of experience in this area. Even for my receptionist, I run a 4,000 line switchboard. I respond to high executive calls. I filter information for over 300 people. I am the key scheduler for all the clinicians that are in 5 separate locations, satellite offices, whatever it is that you do, quantify it so that people can say, wow, 300 lines at once? Wow, she's the filter, she's the scheduler for executive leadership. Okay, been doing this for 20 years. There's information that will be eye-catching, results-driven, so that the interviewer says, nope, we got to talk to them just to see if they might be suitable. Then once you get in the door for your interview, that's when you have your interview presence and you have the facts and that resume. You do your research about the agency. So not only are they asking you those questions, but you have questions prepared to ask them. Here's two of them for you. What is the culture like in this agency? And how about, is there promotion opportunity with this position? Just giving you two cheats, two what that are always great to consider when you're interviewing. So, viewer, thank you for your inquiry. You can always send them to Tami@thepowerup.net. Family, we're going into our wrap up. What an amazing segment thus far. Stay tuned. There's more after this.
Hi, guys. It's Tina Wynn, your host of the podcast, You See Me. I want you guys to stay encouraged, continue to come out and see me, and most importantly, see yourselves. Remember, the only way that you can truly enjoy life is to see other people so that you can enjoy the beauty of seeing yourself. Come join me Saturdays at 4 on the We Empowered Network. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Power Up family. Wow, what an amazing show. We certainly hope that you feel equipped, even educated on new information, and empowered so you can elevate your community. We first started out with global news, elevating the eradication of polio in many countries around the world, and the amazing work of UNICEF.org. Consider tapping into them to get resources, real-time information, facts, and statistics on this global issue, how you can make a difference. Also, we elevated the fact that the Red Cross is seeking your help. Go to the American Red Cross and find out how you can be a blood donor. There is a national shortage of blood across the United States. Family, individuals can need blood just from a car accident, from a surgery. How about the babies, individuals, our seniors that need you to be a donor? Monetarily, you can also make a difference. But more so, how about become a Red Cross volunteer? They are seeking volunteers to help respond to national crises. You can be a difference maker. Redcross.org, where you can go to find out more information on how to be a donor, how to donate monetarily, and how to be a volunteer. Then we went into elevating Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We want to thank our amazing guest, Psalm Sefer, who brought her insight, her heart, her passion for people, global work she has done and continues to do on a daily basis. How she's just from sparks touched individuals, reminding you that you can always contact her at psalmsefer.com to learn more about her advocacy and, yes, her music, as well as if you need assistance during a traumatic situation. If you are experiencing domestic violence, if you're aware or even sent someone that needs help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is there, established to help you. Get the information, write it on a lot of stickies and post it in bathrooms. Put it in your church bathroom. We're a community. Individuals come to church, you don't know what they might need, but all they have to do is pull out their phone and take a picture to know where to go, all because you heard this broadcast, all because your elevation, you're aware now to make a difference. The Domestic Violence Hotline, the hotline.org, 800-799-SAFE. That's 7233. Family, you can even text START to 88788. Please just know, most importantly, don't worry about what folk have to say. It's not about their opinion, it's about your safety. We would rather hear your story and connect with you, our arms around you, to be able to support you in this moment than have to read your obituary. Don't stay when you can be amazing with folks who see the amazingness in you. And one other thing, stop thinking this is a woman's issue. Family, domestic violence is not okay, whatever your gender. We need to understand we are not the ones that should be policing other people, should be abusing others. We should be the help. Consider learning and educating how you can respond and help someone who approaches you with an issue. Trauma affects everyone. You can be a difference maker, even if it's just passing the resource to someone. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm a worshiper who goes to an assembly of worshipers every weekend. I'm going to write this information down, put it in a sticky, and put it in the back of my Bible, just so that if anyone ever approaches me, I can immediately pass that to them in confidence. No conversation. I can just make sure they have that information. I'm also going to take a picture of it. So if I ever need to text or talk about it, I have it readily available. Family, you are the power. You are the difference maker. Let us stay aware and, most importantly, be helpful when we can. We then responded to a viewer's question about resumes, how they're continuing to get in interviews, but don't feel like the resume is supporting them. During our career elevation segment, first of all, reminding you that if you made it to the interview, it's not the resume. But the most important thing is making sure the resume is the best picture of you. When people read the resume, they're reading about your success, your experiences, the projects you've led, even your volunteer service. There's a lot that you might do externally. Put it on your resume so that folks can see your leadership, how you elevate and how you change so many atmospheres, all the projects you've touched that impact the community. It all matters. Just make it quantifiable and make sure you proof for errors. Family, as we are in our wrap up, we're excited because we have opportunity to share that in 2024, two amazing, powerful African American women will be featured on the U.S. quarter. Ida B. Wells was born into slavery, but she became a teacher to support her siblings. She's most noted for refusing to give up her seat many times, many decades before Rosa Parks, and being a co-owner of a Memphis newspaper, even risking her life as folks reported, as she reported on lynchings. People wanted her destroyed. Her newspaper office had been vandalized. So many things she experienced, yet she stood for what was right. She made sure that she was an advocate and that so much was said to make sure to elevate the causes of humanity of African Americans. She will be one of those featured on the U.S. quarter in the year 2024. We're also proud to share that Althea Gibson was one of the very first, are you ready for this? Sports playing ping pong players recognized by the United States. She won second place in many singing competitions at the Apollo, many might not have known about, and was honored for her amazing skills on the tennis court, starting in Harlem, New York. Althea Gibson is one of those whose name is known because she trailblazed and made the way in tennis, where our amazing folks like Serena Williams were able to follow and elevate. We're honestly grateful that their contribution to U.S. American history is going to be highlighted and acknowledged by this government. Well done, United States. These two ladies stood for much, and were trailblazers. So we leave you here, our production team, to remind you that whatever you do, you are a trailblazer. Fear will always stop you from moving in your purpose. Fear that, well, I don't know if I can, or I don't have enough money to start, or how about everybody else is doing it? People are just going to say, dag, they just did that too. Can I tell you? So what? None of that matters when it comes to the amazingness of you. What we want to remind you today is just as Ida B. Wells, and just as Althea Gibson, just as Maya Angelou, who was featured on the quarter, as the Tuskegee Airmen, who've also been featured, as those who are in our day-to-day life heroes, you are also a hero to someone, even when it doesn't feel like. There's times when life can knock the wind out of you. There's times when circumstances are hard. Yeah, hurts. But it doesn't stop. It doesn't take away your purpose in the earth because of this temporary moment. Consider all the adversity that both of these ladies must have experienced. Ida B. Wells into slavery, taking a stance. And Althea Gibson, how about during the time when there were civil rights movements going on? Just to be equal and have an opportunity to do their God-given gifts. One, starting a newspaper and being a pioneer in journalism, and another one taking on her sports and athleticism gift. Any gift you have is meant to make a difference in the earth. And we need it more right now than ever. So much going on across this land. There are wars in diverse places. There are wars on our streets. And how about in our homes and even in our minds? Yeah, we can be a whole lot of something just all by ourselves. But there are resources, there's help, there's mentors, coaches, advisors, folks you can connect with to help lift you in those trying times so you can get back on your feet and run a little while longer. There are generations of babies that need your wisdom and expertise. That's why we're always pushing for seniors to continue to talk, to continue to write, to continue to do what you can while you're here. It's not over till it's over. And you have the power to make a difference where you are. Family, as we wrap up our show today, as always, we want to thank our first responders, 911, those who run in harm's way when everyone else is running away. We thank you for your sacrifice and fight on our behalf. We thank our medical professionals, those who stand in the face of when we're coughing on them and have germs and diseases that they are fighting to find a cure for. We thank our nurses, doctors, we thank our caseworkers. We thank our home health aides, those who sit with our seniors. We also thank our military and veterans, those who stood or stand on the front lines for our freedoms. Listen, just so we can disagree with each other, just so we can all be unique and come together with our differences. We thank you for your sacrifice from family so that our borders can be protected. Family, I also want to extend a personal thank you to my mom. This has been my birthday show. I'm grateful for Carolyn Hill Hagans, grateful for all she has done and all in her academic success, teaching for more than 30 years and being a true leader. Recently, having buried my dad, he was my hero. But I found a card recently from him where he reminded me, daughter, you are great. Family, no matter what, you are great. Happy birthday to our producer, Terry Wynn, and to all those October babies. We'll see you next time.